Good evening, friends. Welcome to a special episode of The Naked Historian. My name is Michael Albrecht, and I'll be your host. Now, those of you who are regular visitors, I'm sure you are eagerly anticipating Episode 9, which is going to be filmed at the Chancellorsville Battlefield at the site of the Catherine's Furnace Ruins and Jackson's Flank March Trail. That shoot is going to take place this weekend if the weather clears up. It's been raining here in Central Virginia pretty much every evening for the last 2 weeks, so we'll hopefully be able to get out there and get that episode shot. Tonight I wanted to address some of those of you out there who have been sending me emails that are curious about the way that I do my work and some of the projects that I'm currently working on. I was recently asked to provide a lecture to the Pittsburgh Writers Group up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in September to talk about the steps of historical research and writing. And I am in the process right now, on top of everything else that I have to do, of looking at putting together an outline for that particular lecture. And ironically, I received an email from a number of people that have been questioning updates on my latest book project. So I thought that I would put together a short video this evening to give you a little glimpse behind the curtain of the way that I do my work. Of course, this is not the only way to do historical research and writing, but this is what works for me. So I'm sitting right now up in my bedroom office area. I am seated at a desk that is not my usual work, and I'm going to show you guys my equipment and some of the ways that I put these books together. I am currently in the process of writing a book for the History Press's American Chronicles series, and I happen to have one of those right here. These books are done on a regional basis. This is the Civil War of Milledgeville. Tales from the Confederate Capital of Georgia by U.T. Harrington. And this is an example that they sent me when I agreed to sign the contract to write this particular book. Now, unlike my books in the past, for example, my book on the historic churches of Fredericksburg for the History Press, these chronicle books are pretty much consisting of very short narratives by the historian and large chunks of transcripts that are taken from newspapers, diaries, periodicals, recollections, and other primary sources, and some secondary sources as well. So this book is actually going to be not only an interesting read, hopefully, when it's done, but it will also be a valuable resource to other historians out there that are interested in researching similar topics. And I decided to write a book on the Confederate encampments of Spotsylvania County and the surrounding region, primarily because there has been nothing out there definitively published that talks about that particular subject. Even the National Park Service here has admitted that it's a very difficult subject to research, and it is very problematic finding exact detailed information on the location of these camps. I have actually had difficulties from the Virginia Historical Society, who aren't able to release any information on archaeological digs, which was probably our best lead on defining where these camps existed. That said, I have been able to put together a wonderful collection of different writings from soldiers and civilians that present the lives of both soldiers in the area with the Confederate Army, as well as those living nearby that were affected by them during the 4 years of the Civil War. And this collection includes diary entries, recollections, a lot of letters back and forth, and covers a lot of wonderful subjects and some not so wonderful subjects. You know, I talk about life on the home front and the experiences with the families who had their loved ones go off to war. I talk about disease and dysentery, crime and punishment, the construction of camps, winter quarters, snowball fights during the winter, baseball games and other games and recreation, black Confederates, not in the sense of soldiers, but in the sense of servants and slaves that went off to war with their masters and actually provided services within the camp, and many, many more topics. So it's a very general overview. It covers some broad perspective, but it's on a subject that it's been far too neglected as far as a lot of people are concerned. And this particular book is going to be written in a very personal manner. I want the reader to walk away with a sense that they really got to touch some of these people who wrote these wonderful letters. There's letters written from husbands to their wives and fathers to their children, and 2 weeks later they received the notice that that particular loved one had been killed in battle. So there are some very interesting pieces in here, and there's a lot of bittersweet pieces in here that sort of reinforce that fact of the tragedies of war. I'm going to grab the camera right now, and I'm going to show you guys. Usually, when I work, my area in the bedroom is sort of over there. That's where the majority of my equipment and the desktop is, and that is also the family computer. And my wife and children are always happy when I'm writing a book because, of course, it frees that system up for them to play on YouTube and Facebook. Turning around here, you can see the setup that I have going on right now. I've got two laptops. I've got a main laptop, which I use to write the majority of my books, and I've also got a separate laptop hooked up to an external flat panel monitor, and I use this as a display device. And whenever you're writing a book like this that consists of transcripts, of course, I need to be able to see what I am copying. So one of the wonderful things about being a historian in the 21st century, and I hope you can see this, is the wonderful databases that are available. The National Park Service has this wonderful system set up where they have PDFs. And these PDFs contain synopsis and abstracts for every single one of the items that are in their bound volume collection. And what you can do is you can do a keyword search, and through that keyword search, it will bring up all of the pieces in that collection that are pertinent to whatever particular topic you're researching. And what I do is I go through these documents. Now, this one alone is 1,000 pages. It's a 1,000-page PDF. And I do a word search, and then I whittle that down until I come up with, you know, a couple dozen or so items that I think will be worthy, and then I let my friends up at the National Park Service know which ones I'm interested in, and they are able to pull those materials for me, either as printed copies or as digital files. And I'm able to take those home and use those as part of my research. And what makes this nice is it would take historians back in the day months and months just to go through the catalog and find out which one of these items was worthy for their particular project before they could even start transcribing any of the information. That information is then cut to CD, and those CDs, of course, are loaded onto my other laptop. And what I do is I bring up the transcripted text, and a lot of times these are handwritten scans as well, and I copy what those people write. And that, of course, goes into the manuscript document and is later used as part of the narrative. Right now, I am transcribing pages from the Civil War diary of James J. Kirkpatrick, who was with the 16th Mississippi Infantry. And he did a wonderful job of writing about his experiences in the Fredericksburg and Spotsylvania area during the Civil War. For example, and I'm not sure if you guys are even going to be able to see this, but I'll read a little bit of a transcript from one of his entries. This was November 27, 1861, and he says, "Went on picket again at the same place. When the weather is fair, we now look forward to our picket tours as ones of pleasure. No enemy near enough to circumscribe our foraging limits, and with more liberties than at camp, we rarely fail of having a good time. Camp life is becoming very monotonous at our present abode. Winter is near at hand, and our tents are very inadequate shelter for this cold climate. Wood, too, has become an object far off, and bad roads to haul it over. The cold winds howling around us like evil spirits admonish us to prepare for worse coming. Chimneys of some structure are built to our tents, but they afford us more smoke than heat. If to furnish smoke had been the object of their erection, no amount of skill could have succeeded better. We have not yet become proficient in camp architecture. Like true philosophers, we group around our smoky fires. Jests and mirth pass around. Duty is cheerfully performed, although our future prospects for comfort are gloomy indeed."